theaters. I can't wait. Honestly, that looks fantastic. Luke, can you tell us how you got attached to this? How did this movie? Because it's based off books. How did this get the wheels in motion for a movie adaptation, and how did you come on board with it?
Yeah, it was interesting, like just how life happens. I was literally just scrolling through just social media one day, and it happened to be the right time where I was looking for next projects and what to do, and always trying to fill my slate with stuff. It's always, I know some people like to go one film at a time and worry about one film. I used to do that, and now I sort of have like a whole slate where I have like 6 things on the go, because if one gets going, I'm like, great, that's what we're going to do, rather than going, I'm doing this next film. And then people eventually, if you can't get through the door, then you've just spent years of your life and you go, oh my God, I gotta go find something else. And then just more time. So I happened to be at the right time, scrolling through Facebook or social media or something. And I think it was the Kickstarter campaign for the Primitive War graphic novel. And it must have been a sponsored post or something, because it came up, you might like this. And it was the front cover of the issue, and it was a Utah raptor jumping out of the jungle fighting this Vietnam soldier. And I was like, hold the phone, this is something that I'm interested in, because what is this? I've never seen this before. Like, this sounds like something I would play with as a kid with my Jurassic Park T-Rex and my G.I. Joes. Because again, as a kid, I used to get my G.I. Joes and have stop motion animation storyline pictures where I'd set up things and have the G.I. Joes coming out of Castle Grayskull and all that kind of stuff. And it's all real stories. So I saw that picture, and then I went on to the book, and I sort of deep dived into the internet of like, what is this thing, and how do you get the book? And I think I bought it from Amazon and shipped it out to me, or I think I talked to the author. I can't remember the exact time. Either way, I reached out to the author. Either he sent me the book or I bought it. And there was another sort of young adult novel I was also looking at that had dinosaurs involved, but a very different sort of thing. It was more like a sci-fi one set on another planet, and there's dinosaurs on the planet and all that kind of stuff. And so I sort of put that one to the side for a second, because I'm like, this is interesting, because it's like war, that's my thing. Vietnam, dinosaurs, like, should be an easy sell. Why hasn't anyone done this before? So I read the book, and I immediately identified the scenes that I was like, I can, this is what I would, in my head, I was like, I can, that's a great scene, or that one I can probably drop, and all that kind of stuff. Mine sticking away as I'm reading it, and I sort of did notes, and then sent my pitch back to Ethan, the author, and was like, this is how I would do it. He obviously liked it. And that was like 2021, and got the rights to it and sequels. I've been working on it ever since. My first point of call was to like really go hard on my contacts in Hollywood to be like, hey, this is my next project. This is awesome. Like, come on board. And unfortunately, you would think that it's an easy sell, but the way the studio system works, and if you ever heard stories about suits and, how Hollywood suits work, and that, the feedback was, well, you're not Steven Spielberg. How are you going to make this movie?
Wow.
This isn't Jurassic Park. I don't understand. Why are the dinosaurs in Vietnam? I don't get this whole thing. You know what I mean? Like this continual head against a brick wall sort of situation. And I was like getting a little bit like, sort of downtrodden, because I'm like, oh my God, like this just makes sense to me. Like, come on. You know what I mean? So I did bring him to me. I was over in Hollywood for the premiere. While I was there, I sort of had breakfast with Jeremy Piven, and I knew he was coming to Australia, and had some talks with some other finances and investors at the time over there. And I was on the plane back, and I was like, you know what, let's just do it ourselves. Let's just do it. And again, that's a big thing to go into for such a grandiose movie where people are like, so you're going to do it all yourself. So I got back and I talked to my team and pitched it to them. And once they sort of picked themselves up the floor, I was like, let's just do it. And we went in and we decided to do it. Like, it was like literally a year ago today, we were like on set filming. Most films have like months and months of pre-production, and we only had 4 weeks because it just worked out with the actors of Piven coming over here to Australia, and that means we didn't have to fly him and all these different sort of things that you sort of go as a producer. Brain takes over to be like, how can we make this happen with the budget that we have? So we had 4 weeks pre to build like all those sets you saw in the trailer and everything else. So it was like a mammoth undertaking. So that's how that whole thing came about.
That's a shame that the studios kind of shot you down like that, because with all due respect to them and to Steven Spielberg, he's not going to live forever. you would think that they would want to find the next guy that could do something as revolutionary or groundbreaking as he did, to build up.
Yeah.
I hate it when I hear that type of stuff.
Yeah,
Because
yeah. I mean, for me, it's like real producing a movie is where you sit down and you have like 100 problems and you work out solutions to those problems either way of how to, there's many ways to skin a cat, as much as I hate that phrase because I love cats. There's many ways to do it, and that's what real producing does. And I feel like Hollywood has gone, and again, not throwing shade, but I feel Hollywood has gone a very different route lately, where it's all very much, I don't want to say corporate and all that kind of thing because it's true, but that's been there since the 70s, so it's not like going away. But like, it's very much like, oh well, this isn't easy, or how are you going to do this? I'm like, well, let's figure it out. Like, let's have these conversations.
Exactly.
But no one wants to have the conversations. It's like, for some reason, and the budgets are getting less, and Hollywood's getting tighter, and Netflix, like no one now wants to. They're all scared to do something because of the last couple of years, obviously COVID, and then the strikes, and then wokeness, whatever you want to call it, and then something else. So everyone's kind of like, whoa, everyone's very, very scared. And I'm just like, but if you not I don't want to say the word, if you build it, they will come, because that's true too. But at the same time, it's like if you're going with something and you want to make it the best, you want to make it authentic, and you have people around you, and that's how Spielberg and the greats started back in the 80s. And for them, that's and those directors love the early directors, John Ford and all those early directors, Spielberg and George Lucas. They always cite them, and my age group is citing George Lucas and Spielberg and Cameron. And what they did. But all that stuff in the 80s was them figuring it out, and was them going, here's a problem, here's a solution. And I feel all that's gone in this day and age, which is really disappointing. And, you get feedback where they're like, there's no point making, a mid-sized budget film. Either make something super low or wait to get $100 million. I'm like, that makes no sense to me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, it's like winning the lottery. Like, it's just never going to happen. So in my mind, I'm like, let's go out and make something. It might be rough around the edges, or we might fail, we might succeed, but let's go and do something the best it can be, and a real entrepreneurial sort of feel to the filmmaking, which is what the 70s and 80s really ushered in. So I don't know if the system's going to change. But yeah, it was definitely a bit annoying to have that feedback at that time. Nowadays, who knows? If, I had just gone out this year and said, let's make this as a studio film, who knows? But Hollywood changes on a dime very quickly. So nowadays, they can spend $360 million on the Electric State. But like when you go in the off
crazy.
I know, right? For me, it is. That's for sure. I look at it and I'm like, oh my God, imagine what I could do with that money.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. It almost feels like I'm sorry, go ahead.
I worked it out. I did the math of like Jurassic World Reboot, Jurassic World Rebirth. Their budget is, I think, 265. And that must be something that they've done for a purpose, because that's just 65 million years ago. $265 million US budget, which over here in Australian dollars is like, not exactly double, but like another 60% on top of that. So, my film would literally be their catering budget, I reckon.
Yeah.
So, it's a bit crazy. And that's, and that's great for them, and great for me. So yeah, it's either one doesn't win, but it's just interesting dynamics.
Yeah,
that is insane. That the budgets are that high. It's like you almost have to make $1 billion just to damn near.
And they probably will.
I'm sure it will.
And Jurassic World probably will. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow,
that's crazy.
So that's how the whole film came about behind the scenes, and then we got to work making it.
Nice. So where did you get the inspiration or like the reference material to bring these dinosaurs to life? Because like, let's be honest, like they're way different than what we've seen previously. Are these like some favorites that you've had as a kid that you just kind of wanted to bring in there because you haven't seen them before? Did you look up books, check out a whole bunch of dinosaur books in the library and like, hey, just pick out some favorites? What was that process?
Well, I wanted to be very true to the book, because I always hate